Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in. My name is Nichola Petts, and I'm the founder of Petts PR, a small PR business here in Toronto. And today I'm going to be talking to you a little bit about communication in the time of COVID-19. This is a really crazy time for a lot of people. There's a lot of anxiety and fear um, everywhere as a result of this pandemic. And I think a lot of people have questions and are experiencing a lot of confusion about communication during this time. My hope is that these tips I'm going to share with you will be useful to anybody who is an employee who now finds themselves working from home full time, or if you're an entrepreneur and you have staff and or contractors that you deal with on a regular basis, or even if you're a freelancer and you have clients all over the world. My hope is that this information will be of use to you. So to give you a little bit of background about me, I have 16 years of communications experience, and I have worked in both internal communications or employee engagement roles, as well as external communications and media relations roles throughout my tenure. I've worked also in almost every industry, really, from healthcare to financial services, hospitality, fashion, entertainment, nonprofit, a wide variety. So I use my background as sort of a basis for the tips that I'm going to share with you. So to start off, it's really important to communicate with regularity and with clarity. It's also very important along with that is to maintain relationships, whether it's with your team, whether it's with your staff or your clients. Maintaining those relationships and staying connected is really, really important to make sure that we're all on the same page in terms of who's doing what and what you're working on. I think sharing details and concise messaging around project status, what kind of challenges you have. It's also a good idea to share those with your team so that they can offer support to you. Ultimately, you don't want anybody to feel that they're kind of on their own little island and they're flying solo. The team still should very much exist, but just in a remote way. Along with being detailed and clear with your messaging, I'd like to say, let's say no to cryptic emails. So we've all been there. You put together a detailed status report or a message that's going out to a team. You've got items highlighted and they're put in bullet points. It looks beautiful. You've got some key questions that you've called out for the recipient to make sure that they can respond to it. And you get a response. And the response is strictly 2 letters. Okay. And you're left wondering, what does this actually mean? So it's important for the people responding to those messages to also be pretty detailed and clear so that there isn't any bottlenecks in project updates. If someone's waiting for approval on something or they have some questions, it's important to keep things moving forward. And as well, it's a huge waste of time if somebody has to try to track you down to get the answers that they're looking for, when really you could have just responded to that message in the first place with the details, and then nobody is wondering what you mean. For those people, because there are a lot of people out there that just don't love email, it's not really their jam. They prefer to do voice calls or video calls, and that's okay. I think it's important that everybody be open and honest about what their needs are so that some kind of compromise can be met. Maybe it's about having a discussion via video call and then a detailed email is the follow-up afterwards, just to make sure everybody feels supported and on the same page. And to go along with that, when you are receiving emails, or text messages or WhatsApp, whatever it happens to be, whichever method you choose, read them. Read your emails. So often people don't read the emails properly, and then they just hit back with a response asking a question that is very clearly answered in the body of the email. So again, I think being open, being transparent with your team really just helps to build trust, and it creates more clarity, and that's always a good thing. This one's important, I think, not just now, but all the time, uh, but especially now, and that is to treat everyone with empathy and respect. So we're all going through this really crazy time. A lot of us don't really know uh, how to move forward. There's a lot of questions. So being empathetic is really important. For those who have staff who are working remotely, now is not the time to micromanage. I think creating a sense of or lack of trust amongst the team is really not a good idea. And ultimately, you hired somebody for a reason, because they could do the job. So let them do their jobs. I think it's also important to be open to questions and concerns, and to provide feedback. An open door policy doesn't have to just be an open door policy in an office. It can also be a virtual one. So my advice is to try to maintain that kind of policy and that openness. Again, being available for feedback and support, that only makes things better for teams. And lastly, when it comes to this notion that we're all in this together, we hear it everywhere, right? We hear it all over the place. We're all in this together. I think it's really important that people feel that and sense that, and that it's not just something that that you say or that you put on your website, but that you actually follow through, that you're walking the walk and you're talking the talk, as they say. Again, it's just about helping everyone to feel supported and secure, and transparency is key when it comes to building that trust. Be patient. This is a tough one for a lot of people. I'm not suggesting by any means that the business shouldn't move forward, that projects shouldn't continue on their way. They absolutely should. But I think that we need to make some concessions around this time. We're all trying to figure out what this new normal looks like and how it works. And things are changing on a regular basis. So I think we need to be able to have that flexibility to go with the flow. For so many people, product launches, any kind of activations, some big projects have been put on hold, some of them indefinitely. So it is really a rough time. But as last week's ComITalks speaker, Tara Noble, had said, that during times of great stress or grief, our ability to make decisions and to think clearly is ultimately strained. So be aware that there are times when it may take a bit longer to get answers to things that you're looking for. And, we have to just sort of go with the flow with that a little bit, and try to make sense of what's going on. So we need to give each other some extra space to do that. It's important to remember that a lot of people have a ton on their plates right now, not just professionally, but also personally. So again, we need to be mindful of those things. Amend and acknowledge. I like to say read the room. It's really very, very important that we are cognizant of what's happening in the world when we're putting out any kind of communication. We don't want to appear to be tone deaf or insensitive, especially if you are somebody who works in digital marketing. Maybe you take care of social media for some of your clients, or digital newsletters, and perhaps you have pre-scheduled some posts to go up from a few months back. My advice is to go back and take a look at those and make sure that they're still appropriate now. For an example, sending out an Instagram post of a beautiful bar patio that's full of sunshine and people cheersing with beers and having a great time with, hashtag patio season is live. That's probably not a good idea right now. So read the room, and make sure that all of your communications fall in line with that. Again, it's about being authentic and building trust with people, because this is really the time right now that people are going to remember the way that you acted and reacted during the pandemic, when they are thinking about brands that they identify with, or companies that they support. This is really important. Wherever possible, add value. So there are opportunities, I think, here to add value. And it's not just for businesses that so many of us have heard about, companies that have decided to pivot and go from making gin to hand sanitizer, or from t-shirts to personal protective equipment for our frontline workers. Even if you're an employee and maybe you have some ideas on ways to make processes run more smoothly, or perhaps you have some ideas with respect to employee engagement, maybe some virtual happy hour or something like that. Whatever it happens to be, I think that we can all add value in our own way. And as well, when you're working in an environment where you have a lot of team members, we're all struggling to a certain extent with this. And I think that this pandemic has hit some people harder than others. So if and when possible, I think it's nice to offer a helping hand wherever you can for those who may be struggling. And maybe it's about adding some extra services for your clients. Maybe it's about offering virtual workshops, or something similar to what Pablo and his team at ComIT have done with these ComIT talks, offering some insights and advice for people. Just a good way to build that brand trust and recognition. I think is something that's going to be important moving forward, because once this pandemic is over and whatever the new normal happens to look like, this is the kind of thing that people are going to definitely remember. So thank you. A big thanks to Pablo and his team at ComIT for giving me the opportunity to chat with you today. If you have any questions, or you have any thoughts on what I discussed today, then please feel free to drop me an email at nichola@pettspr.com. I wish you all the very best.